honest to God, there are so many different directions we can go in with this one. I mean, where to start, where to go, where to end. We welcome you into Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razors. The Bruins lose Game 4 to the New York Islanders at the Coliseum 4-1. A 2-1 game, 2 empty net goals at the end. But a hard-earned victory when it's all said and done for the New York Islanders, who established again at many times in the game, Razor, I thought what they wanted to do. The physical presence was there. By no means were the Bruins intimidated by it. They answered them, I thought, physically. But execution-wise, it was a New York Islander game. So as we welcome you in and as we remind you that this episode brought to you by friends at Zenda Coffee and at Wormtown, who is putting out these great new craft hard seltzers. We'll touch on those a little bit later in the show. Razor, what's your level of after that game? Because my level of has elevated. That might be just playoff hockey, buddy. But you tell me. I mean, it's a I got a little question mark right now. What about you?
No, I mean, until the Islanders actually beat them, then I won't believe that the Islanders can actually win this series. I've said it since the opening face-off. I'm watching it again tonight the whole time. No, the Bruins are going to win. I'm still there, but
see, I don't think. Wait, but now hold on. Don't misunderstand me, bud. It's not that I don't think that the Bruins can't win this. I'm just saying I've got some questions, bigger questions than I thought I may have. I mean, after 3 games at the very least, bottom 6 is a big one.
Yeah, I mean, we could just talk about that the whole time. I mean, we talked about. I thought they should have switched it up.
We both thought Kuhlman would come in for one of 2 guys.
The fact they didn't mix that up, I think, is a big miscue tonight. I think that's where you start and that's where you end. I think they needed to change it up. To go with those guys again cost them tonight. That's what I think. You had to put at least one body in the bottom 6 to switch things up, to buzz the tower, to get everyone's attention, whatever it is.
To bring energy.
They didn't do it, and no one responded. Not one of those guys responded. Well, and there's when you have 6 passengers, I mean, it's not good enough.
Were you not? You didn't like Charlie Coyle's game either? No. I mean, I was like,
no. -2. I mean, I think that's his fault on Barzal's goal. He comes way up high. I mean, he's trying to, but he's the guy in front on Palmieri too. He tries to slash him at the end instead of taking his stick and paking him. So no.
I wasn't. Don't get. How do I say this? Of some other guys, he's not at the top of my list.
No. He's
right. Okay.
He's the 5th of 6th. Lazar is still doing a very good job, in my opinion. To lump him in on that bottom 6, I don't think. He's my 6th. Coyle's my 5th.
Right. It's the wingers. We got wingers that have needed some attention. Before, I was just in favor of putting in Carson Kuhlman, just one, moving one guy in. I don't know if Bruce and his staff will put 2 guys in, but I'm actually questioning now for Game 5, do they put Frederick in as well?
Well, and that's the issue that they've presented themselves now, because again, we said it. I didn't think they should put 2. I don't think they should ever have to put 2 guys into a middle of a series that haven't played. And now they're at the point where they might have to. But this gave them, Game 4 was the opportunity to put Kuhlman in. See what happens. And then if it doesn't work, then you can go to the next option. If it does work, then you keep it, and then you don't have to bring a guy in who hasn't played in the playoffs yet. And now they're staring at it, and now they have a lot of questions to ask and look at themselves and try and figure it out for the next 2 days. And that's not ideal.
It isn't ideal. And on the other hand, though, this team needs – look, David Krejci post-game said, I'm not going to speak for others. I'm quoting him, not quoting him exactly, verbatim. I'm not going to speak for others, but I didn't feel it tonight. Maybe that is actually his quote. So, okay, appreciate the honesty. Everybody's had days where they don't feel it at work, whatever you do. Anybody that's played hockey or sports at any level understands that there's a day you're out there, you kind of think you go in feeling good, right, bud? And then you don't. You just can't get it going. still scored a goal. But
Yeah.
I don't think he was the only one that didn't feel it in this game. I don't. I think it's hot. I think it's a tight arena. I think the energy's there. I give the Islanders credit for physically hitting them, but I don't think that the Bruins, for some reason, this is where that question mark of comes in a little more for me, bud, of why didn't they have it? Why didn't they have it when they've got a golden opportunity to put away a team who isn't their equal in certain skill sets, but yet is their equal in effort? You can't argue that.
No, you can't argue that. And yes, the reality is that was as desperate as the Islanders have had to play all season. I mean, they had to win that game. They were at home. Still, the Bruins were up 1-0. Still, the Bruins dictated, I thought, the first period, right up until they scored their goal. And basically, the momentum changes on a terrible challenge that Trotz calls, and they get away with it, and they score right away as soon as that third line goes out after those power plays. They didn't have a good power play on the second one, and the third line jumps over and they give up a goal, and then it's an Islanders wait till we get a random puck tipped into the slot and knocked it out of the air. I mean, that's what happened.
That's Islander hockey right there. But I mean, Razor, we texted a little during the game, and we do at times here and there, but not that much. But
yeah,
I really think that power play after the failed challenge, and we both agree. I don't think we need to go through it too much. I don't know what Trotz was doing or what his coaches were telling him. His video guy.
Yeah, it wasn't
and
even
others,
Barry. It was someone was talking to the assistant coach in his ear, and you could see the whole thing playing out, and someone's in trouble tonight.
Right. So, because the coaches only get a good look at it. But the refs, Jesus, did they give them time to really look at it in the back room? I mean,
it's almost like the refs were like, guys, are you really going to do that? That's what it felt like.
Maybe.
That the refs were almost like, guys, you really, saw
I
this.
double dare you, Barry.
Yeah,
I double dare you.
Do you really, are you sure? Are you sure?
Well, it was a bad challenge, but what was worse was the power play after it. I felt the guys came out and were lackadaisical. And that was bothersome to me. I'm watching it, and I'm like, no. Even if you don't score, have golden chances. Make it where it is so good for a minute and a half that the Islanders are like, oh, smokes, what did we do? What did we do here, right? They didn't. And I think that was the turning point. I do. And then because the Islanders like, okay, one goal, like you said, and then they end up scoring the goal, the Palmieri goal, all of 3 minutes later, 2.5, 3 minutes later. Some busted coverage in middle of the slot, delayed penalty. Not even middle, low slot. Palmieri's quick one-timer. That is his fifth goal of the playoffs. By the way, Krejci got the goal to get the Bruins going. That power play goal was his first of the playoffs, Razor. So I'm happy for that. I'm still not happy to hear that he didn't have it. Again, I appreciate his honesty, but I'd sure rather hear, I don't know, I felt all right. I just couldn't do even more.
Yeah, and that's an older player in the playoffs kind of annoyed that he has to talk after the game. That's also what I get from that answer is like, we didn't win, I didn't have it, whatever. Like I don't want to deal with this. That's a little bit for me.
Okay. Fair enough. And Krejci's got that side to him, too, in general,
yes,
right?
He does. Like, he doesn't ever answer questions,
Right. He's excellent one-on-one sitting next to him in the stall.
Of course, he's brilliant. He's perfect, but he's not an interview guy.
No. Let's talk about Matt Barzal, because we got a lot of different things to talk about with him.
Yeah. I want to go to the D next because I thought that's a positive. We've been really negative, but
okay, go then. Take it where you want to go here.
Tenorti was awesome.
I thought he did his role beautifully.
Awesome, jumped in. That Lausanne was great. Clifton was pretty good. I think what they did, piecing that together, was really good. I'm not putting any of that on the back six. I thought they did a really nice job in a tough situation.
I've got a lot of time for Jared Tenorti.
Me too.
And I didn't think that I didn't know him that well. I knew a little bit of his game before he came in. Saw enough of him here and there, but never really thought that much of. It was the old, high draft pick, different, being a behemoth at 16 and 17, playing against guys much smaller and weaker and dominating. But you know what? I got a lot of time for him. And from literally, what was his first or second game as a Bruin, when he got into a fight? And then, with Wilson, I think it was the second game.
Yep.
And then other stuff that he's been through, and the in and out of the lineup. Hadn't played since Washington Game 5. Comes in and plays here. More than happy to take a dance with Matt Martin. And to your point, blocking shots, doing the things. I have a lot of time for him now. It's a good move. I mean, think about, look, as it is, they're already stretched thin. But if Donnie Sweeney didn't go out and get him, and he had to go out and get him at the time. They needed to deplete a defense.
Yeah.
13-17 was his line. 2 hits, 2 blocks, had a couple of giveaways. But he did his job. I couldn't agree with you more about Lausanne. He continued to play, played over 20 minutes, 2014, 4 hits in the game. I thought he executed breakouts pretty well, especially shuffling over to his offside. Cliffy, I saw some good. I did. Cliffy was pretty good. He made a few other, moments too, but that's
he got
that's
running a
Cliffy
little.
hockey.
That's just the way it is.
Grizzlick with a tough night. I mean, the numbers don't look great. -4. He played 20-35. And they targeted Charlie Coyle, who ended up -3 and 24-16. 4 hits, 3 blocks. I didn't see how many hits he took. I don't have that sheet open in front of me. I'll try and get it in a moment here. But I'm with you. I wouldn't put it on the back 6. I wouldn't. I thought that they handled it well. Mm-hmm. It's the top. It's the front. It's absolutely the front. It's the forwards in this situation.
Yeah.
And we will await, and I'm sure Bruce will talk about it on Sunday because he does media there, but we will await Monday for changes because we know there has to be now, right?
There has to be. It has to be now.
Okay. We agree. Matt Barzal and J.G. Pajot had huge influences in this game for the Islanders and against the Bruins. Barzal was where do we go with this? I mean, he had a beautiful assist to Palmieri. You can't the cutback, the nice pass to get the first goal. Good play. Mm-hmm. Okay, I understand that you'd like the Bruins to defend against that, but there is another team that are pros out there too, right, Razor? Yeah. I mean, and he does a nice job. What'd you think about when he got hit in the Gotchkis? First, actually, let me go back to this. The high stick on Lazar. If I'm Curtis Lazar, and I'd say this about anybody, but it was Barzal in particular, I'd be like, all right, dude, I'm not doing anything in the playoffs right now. I'm going to come after you first regular season game of next year. I'm remembering that cross-check.
Yeah, that's as flagrant as any cross-check we've seen in the playoffs. And yeah, there's no question Lazar's got that in the memory bank for at some point because again, that's just a skilled player taking advantage and doing that.
Right.
And that's what that is. It's a cheap play for sure.
It is. I mean, he got called for it, but there, this is not the time to seek retribution. Again, I'd say this about anybody that did that. Whoever the Bruins were playing, whatever skilled player did that. That's something that Lazar, who's is a very honest player, and so is Barzal. Barzal just put that up there. That was actually Brazier. Isn't that old school right there? Isn't that an old school play? Like you're going to come anywhere near me, I'm going to as a skilled player, I'm going to put that right up in your cheek.
It is.
So to
it is.
And the game had a lot of old school vibe to it. I felt at least. Did you? I mean, I just felt it had and it doesn't surprise me given these two teams.
No, and yeah, the Islanders have to play that way, and in their desperation they had to do that, and they did it, and so yeah, it's a bit of an old school feel to that point. Mm-hmm. The difference is the old school feel is there never used to be penalties called in the playoffs. Now we get 10 every night, and you can't understand half of them to the point of the Krejci and the Barzal it's a penalty now. I mean he hit him in the in the lower region. That hurts.
You can say nuts. You can say
I was
nuts.
going to say nuts. That's what I said nuts.
You're allowed to.
But I didn't.
Yes, got him in the peanuts. Yeah,
he did get him in the nuts, and he deserved it because he cross-checked the guy 4 times. I mean, that's back and forth, and that's what ends up happening. But nowadays, you get called for that stuff.
I think the cross-checks absolutely alleviated the major. Now, look, I don't even think it's – at first I actually thought, I'm like, oh, no, that could be a major. But then I'm going through my head, I'm like, Ovechkin didn't get called for a major, right? When he did it. To Frederick.
I didn't see the initial play, and then on the telecast they said spear, and then you're thinking, oh, okay, spear, that's not a spear. There's a big difference between
which is
here and underneath. It's completely different. It really is.
It is, but everybody goes crazy. A lot of people go crazy about that. But until the league changes it, you're right. There's a difference between the midsection and the other section.
The pitchfork really can hurt.
My God,
do more damage. The underneath the cup does sting for a while, but as we saw, Barzal bounced back pretty well.
Right. I saw on social media some people thought he was faking. I don't know if he was faking or not. He may have embellished a little bit. I don't know. Maybe he might have.
I mean, you get hit there, you get hit there. I mean, you don't need. It doesn't.
Every guy knows.
You don't need much to go down. Yeah, it doesn't take much if it's hitting the right spot. So I tend to not put the fake on somebody when they get hit there, no matter what.
The post game quotes were great. Barzal called it vicious. Well, it's pretty damn vicious. And Krejci's like, yeah, I kind of thought he went down pretty easy. You know, I mean,
of course,
there is the contrast in views. And I am glad though that the officials talked about it, reviewed it, used that. Again, that's the mechanism of going to a major that they have been told to use now, folks. Go to a major, give yourself a minute or two to have a review on it. Because once you go to the major, you can bring it down. But if you call it a minor and it turns out as a major, you can't go up. So
that's right. It was a good job by them to make sure.
Right. Even though
it wasn't a spear.
Right.
To make sure that wasn't a spear. To make sure that wasn't something horrible.
And I do think that they saw the 3 cross checks that came in. And, look, if this were a Bruin player, if this was a Bruin player, we have one in Marchand, similar, right? More accomplished, but you know what I mean. Highly skilled player like that will do that. We would be like, good for him standing up for himself. Meaning, being aggressive. And, Islander fans are going to look at it and say, hey, Matty Barzal, he was more engaged than we've seen him all series. He wasn't bad in game 2, but more engaged in all series in game 4, Razor. And that's going to probably, look, the rest of his team was pulling on that physical rope. That's how he did it as well. And so analyzing that game, I feel the more physical and on the edge that Matty Barzal was, the more successful he was too. And the Bruins are going to have to counter that. They're going to, Boy, I hate to jump back. I'd love to see Nick Krejci more involved. And I know we already touched on the bottom 6, but he's a guy now after this game. I was looking for Big Nick to be involved more. So, anyways, I think
the issue with Big Nick is he's not even getting a chance to get in on a forecheck. They're just in their zone the whole time. They end up he's effective when they get a chance to actually play in the offensive zone. And he can get to the front of the net and he can go to behind the net, to the corner, to the front of the net, back to the corner, back to the front of the net. Mm-hmm. Right now, it's literally one of them skates up the wing, dumps it in, and then they're going back down to the other end and they're playing defense. And so, yes, there's some on Nick Krejci, but we know Nick Krejci isn't one who's going to carry a line. He hasn't done that. Even when he scored 10 goals, 15 goals, he was with Krejci. He wasn't carrying the line. He was just doing a really good job going to the front of the net.
I agree.
Going to the corner, and that's. I just think he's in a position where he has no way to succeed because he's in his own zone the whole time. He's just going up to the point and trying to cover his point man.
Nick Krejci and his line mates are facing Andy Green and Noah Dobson, defensemen, more than anybody. At least in that last game.
Yeah, rightly so.
And I think that they could be, I would say competitive and being a smart aleck. They could be very effective, I would think, especially against Dobson.
Yeah.
But J.G. Pageau having a very big impact in this game. This is what this whole, Pageau has been putting up points, we know, regularly here and there. He's done it all regular season to the Bruins too, but I thought he was excellent in this game. I thought he was in many ways as impactful, if not more, than Matt Barzal. Just the way that he went toe to toe against the big boys.
Patrice in the face-off line, destroyed him in the face-off circle, which is shocking to see Patrice get smoked like that.
What, the last two games now that Patrice is well under 50%?
And Patrice dug in the third. He was winning them directly in the third, but you could tell Patrice was getting a little frustrated. And I'm not sure. I think we talked about this before, but even in the playoffs, even more so in the playoffs, I hate the goalie pulled in a 3-1 game with 25 seconds left.
Yeah, I know. I'm with you.
Now Pageau goes out there and gets a goal. Now he feels even better about his game than he had before. And they weren't coming back. Like 28 seconds left, the whistle goes, all right, Tuukka, get back in there. Game's over.
Yeah, that's optics. That's all that is, pulling the goalie. That's all that is.
We don't want anyone else on their team feeling even better about themselves after this game. That one drives me crazy. And it's Felix Potvin told me that happened in our series against Montreal in 2004 in Game 6. We were down 2 goals. That we pulled the goal. It was 3-2. They scored an empty netter, and then they pulled me again. And they scored another one to make it 5-2. And Felix was there. I remember, I'll never forget it, sitting beside him. And him in the middle of the game, the Bell Center's going nuts, and he's saying, that's the worst call, the worst thing we could have done is allow, I think it was Mike Ribeiro. Like, somebody who wasn't in the series at all got a goal and got them going. And it was
Mike Ribeiro. I remember that. I do.
He scored the 5th goal, empty netter, and it was so annoying. And he was chirping the bench, and all we had to do was just get through the game and leave him alone. And I feel the same way about that one tonight, where in these playoff series, when you're playing again 2 days later, don't go out there and do that. And now Pageau even has a better game because he scored. And now you start talking about him getting that goal, and it was an empty netter, meaningless goal. And it's guys eat minuses. Grizzlick's -4 now instead of -3. It bothered me.
It's funny, Jake, my son said something about that. He was talking about, Pageau now scores a goal, and he thinks he's so great. I'm like, Jake, that's also the hockey god's way of saying you busted your ass in this game, buddy, and you earned that. But I agree with you about that. I didn't see the need to pull the goalie. There's a need for – I don't see the need for something else that I want to get to in a moment. But first, let's quickly touch on our two friends at helping us out on this show. The first one is Wormtown Brewery. At Wormtown Brewery, they are making new craft hard seltzers, black cherry, lemon lime, cran apple, and orange zest. Go to Wormtown Brewery / our seltzers and check them out at .com/our seltzers. And they are outstanding. 100 calories, just gluten free. They're making some fun stuff that are easy drinking. Perfect for these hot summer days right now, whether you're doing the yard, hanging out outside, just enjoying the
95-degree Sunday.
Oh my
Ideal
God.
for the zest.
Make sure to check out Wormtown, the Craft Hard Seltzers. They got some good-looking cans, and they threw us each a couple of their big pint glasses there, too. So we thank our friends over at Wormtown Craft Hard Seltzers. And also our friends, big time, thank you over to Zenda Coffee. FazendaCoffee.com/morningbrew. Make your place your order $35 or more, and you get your free mug. Get your free mug and fast free shipping. The mugs are going fast. We see a lot of people that are putting them up on social media. We appreciate that. They've got something for everyone. They've got the bean coffee, the ground coffee. Razor's got his snap chilled. So does RC. In fact, I got some more for you, buddy. They delivered them over here. You can subscribe, too. You can always save 15% if you're a subscriber at FazendaCoffee.com. Check them out. Again, FazendaCoffee.com/morningbrew. A fresh cup. If we're going to give a fresh cup to anybody, I'd like to give it to Jared Tenorti. We talked about him earlier because the guy, fresh legs coming into the lineup. I would say give the fresh cup to Krejci for the cup check on Barzal, but I'll give the fresh cup instead to Jared
The
Tenorti.
mug shot from Krejci.
Yes, it was the mug. Yes, Mr. Mug. Yeah. But so thank you to that. All right. Let's talk about this. 2 minutes and 20 seconds left in the game. And the fourth line comes on the ice that has not played well in this game. Let me get their numbers if I can real quick.
It's not even.
I don't get it.
I don't get it. We talked about, what game was it that we talked about this already? That why are those guys out? It was, I don't know. I think it was game 2, going into overtime. The same thing with a minute and a half left in a tied game, and you're like, what is going on? And I listen. I got it in 2019. I got it then, but I don't get it now. I really don't. I mean, Taylor Hall's played 15 minutes tonight. Put him out there. His legs are fine. It's not like the first line played 28 minutes and the second line played 25, and you need to rest them. It's wild.
So to me, it was wild. To me, I'm thinking, because I started thinking, okay, we're at 3.5 minutes, and I'm looking at the lines. Okay, so I'm thinking, okay, now you're putting out. I can see the third line if you have to set up the combo big line. I can see that because you're going to put 5 forwards and a D out there. McAvoy's going to be your D.
Yeah.
And so you're going to put a combo of Bergeron line and Krejci and Hall. But I'm also thinking, wait a second.
You have a timeout.
Why? You also thank you.
Yeah,
That's one.
I know you
have a timeout.
Yes, I jumped in.
And two, I'm thinking 2.5 minutes. Well, geez, I can go back forth, like you do with the 12-year-olds.
He does that all the time.
And then you guys go, yeah. I didn't get that, and I didn't feel. I'm sitting there saying, "Whoa!" I was really trying to get on, so to speak, on the bench and say, "How are we doing?" Okay, Razor, 4 minutes, fine. 3:40 on the clock. Okay, I can say fine. Give me 30 seconds, guys. Go out, hammer time, offensive zone. But I got 3 minutes and under on the clock. I'm doing 4 shifts, or you know what I mean, 3 shifts, even because you have the timeout of a minute each. I'm going top line, second line, top line with the second line after I'm calling a timeout, and they're all together. That's what I was thinking. So I'm not asking you for an answer per se. I'm just saying that's I guess, Bud, that's one of those moments.
Yeah. No,
that's what set me up.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. It was obvious because I don't always. When I watch, I don't always see the matchups. Just as a goaltender, it wasn't something I did when I played. So I don't always see the matchups. I don't always see who's out on the ice in certain situations. I just see the situation as a whole. But that stood out like a bright lights shining in my face down the road. That why are these guys out here right now? Again, it's wild. Wild.
I look at the numbers, and Curtis Lazar had 13 minutes and 49 seconds. Sean Corrali, 13 minutes and 7 seconds. Chris Wagner, 10 minutes. They had a couple of shots, but at that point in the game, don't get it. I think that was a miss there, too. I do. I think it was – they had a miss not putting in Carson Coleman for one of the 2 guys that we discussed, and I think they had a miss. I know they had a miss late in the game. Now, they're human. They're going to make mistakes, but that was a big one in my book.
Yeah.
That's a big one right there for the coaches to put them out. But speaking of misses, was it a sign of things to come when Pastrnak missed that wide open net and put it off the post?
Well, it isn't.
I mean, hindsight being 20/20.
Yeah, certainly in hindsight it is. At the time, I was like, he'll find a way to get 2 now. Now he's going to get mad. That was I was thinking. I was like, now he's going to be choked up and they're going to go on a run. But it was the opposite. After 60 minutes or 43 minutes later, he definitely got rattled by it and didn't get any other chances that I can remember that he, and you just again, it's so easy, but you're just like, take like 5 touches if you want past that. He could have literally stick handled that thing and pushed it in with his nose.
I know. Could have walked it to the net. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that happens, right? That happens, but at the time when it happened, like I said, I thought, all right, this guy's going to score 3 tonight. He's going to come back, but can't.
All right. So what needs to change as we look at this as heading into Game 5, which will be on a Monday? I'll call it evening because it's a 6:30 game instead of 7. Again, mark your calendars, folks. 6:30 or set your clocks, and it's going to be hot. I'm talking sweaty, uncomfortable, hot. Like I won't put the suit on until I get to the rink. Otherwise, I'll soak through it hot.
Yeah, the old AC will be on in my car, the old Prius all day on Monday to get to the studio for sure.
Well, you'll burn out the battery then, bud, or you're gonna have to plug it in all day. And so that will impact the ice.
Yep.
It will. It's not an excuse. It's going to be something that, in fact, could help out the Islanders. It could. It allows them to get to their game if it's a little sloppy out there. But what else? I mean, besides adding or subtracting somebody from the lineup, you were saying much earlier, half an hour ago, you were saying, I still until the Islanders beat them. I thought at time I thought the Islanders instead of waiting for the Bruins to beat themselves, I do think the Islanders beat them in this game, Razor. I do. I think they beat them with their effort. So is it just as simple then as the Bruins' effort needs to rise? Maybe. I mean, maybe that's what it is. And by the way, you and I said it to begin. We didn't think it was a 4-game series or a 5-game series to begin. We thought it was 6 or 7.
And no, so I go to the power play has to score. They have to score in a timely manner. They have to have that time. But I look at it back to the Bruins are going to get their matchups again. I think it really, honestly, I think it's as simple as getting some new bodies in there and switching things up. I think.
By the way, Kevin Miller could play. He could.
Carlo, he rode the bike, so that gives him 2 more days. And it's not about the back 6, but I think you have bodies that all jump back in the lineup. I think that just gives everybody energy. I think being back in the Garden gives them energy. So I just think they have to play the same way they did in games 1, games 3, and most of game 2, other than the second period. I still believe that the Islanders still have to beat them, right? Bruins still have home ice advantage.
Right.
6 or 7 games.
Right.
I think the Bruins just are going to come back and be a little pissed off about the way things went tonight. That's
good.
Yeah.
They should be. They should be pissed off.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that. Maybe that's what I want to see. Maybe that'll take away the from me a little bit. But again, the comes down to a little bit of the matchups, who wasn't or was in the lineup, and then the end of the game. Again, the need to have certain guys out there with 2.5 minutes left. That was all right. Anyway, that happens. I mean, I'm not trying to be flippant about it.
No, I know, and that's
happens.
You're right. It does happen, and it's hard. You don't want to be flippant because it's the playoffs and it's game 4, but it does happen.
It does. Now listen. I know we're so close to this team. It's who we follow. It's who we are passionate about. There was a team out there. What I'm saying is this. There's a team out there in Colorado that everybody thought it was going to be simple. And, yes, they're still up 2-1. But they've gotten their asses handed to them the last 2 games. I know Vegas didn't win this game 2, but they dominated. And then game 3, they dominated. My point is this. There are violent mood swings in playoffs. And so that's why when I said I had questions, I wasn't saying I'm not believing. I still think it's going to be tough. I think the Islanders could come out and kick ass the next 2 games because they just believe. The power of belief is, I don't want to go all Tony Robbins on you, but it's huge. And I hope you're right. I'll finish with this. I hope you're right, Razor, that the Bruins come out a little pissed off. And I love the fact, Hall fight, I had no problem with it. I did hold my breath. I don't want him to bust his hand or anything. Good for him. Again, Tenorti, good for him. And so they were in the fight, but I couldn't agree with you more. Let's see him get a little pissed off. Let's see him have that second and third effort. Let's see them do to the Isles.
And we haven't seen it in this series. We saw it against the Capitals in game 2 where they get down. And I feel like even though the series is tied, they might feel like they're down right now. And typically this team gets pissed off when they get to that point. So until proven otherwise, I think they're going to be pissed off in this game, and they're going to come out much different, much more. They're going to be the desperate team now. That's what I expect.
Well,
But
I sure hope
more
so.
importantly, they need to make a lineup
I would
change.
expect. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Well, that will maybe help with their desperation.
Yep.
Maybe that will help. Give them the thing that they need. All right, they need to figure that out. That'll do it for this Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. Once again, thank you to Zenda Coffee at fazendacoffee.com/morningbrew and to Wormtown for sponsoring this episode. Check out their craft hard seltzers. Again, coming in 4 flavors. They are really, really good. Everybody, try to enjoy your Sunday after that defeat to the New York Islanders. Have a wonderful day. It's going to be hot. Take care of yourself. Have a nice Monday. Razor and I will get back together after Monday's game, and hopefully it'll be a victory, and the Bruins will be up in the series. In the meantime, again, have a wonderful day. Enjoy your morning brew.